What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. We got a special episode. It is July 4th. We are in the thick of it with Cowboy Christmas, and we have one of our favorite guys to talk to on with us today, Josh Frost. Josh, how are you this morning, buddy?
Doing really good. Happy to be here.
Thanks, man.
Josh, real quick, are you wearing, does your hat say dad?
Girl dad.
Heck yeah. Girl dad. Love it, dude. Where'd you get that? I got to find one of those.
Jake got it for me for my birthday, so he's got him
awesome.
matching set. So
that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. That's right around the corner. You're going to be a new dad, brother.
Yeah, it's coming quick. We're 6 weeks out, I think.
6 weeks out. We're just gonna dive into this like right off the bat, but do you have a game plan for that, or because it's still going to be very busy rodeo and wise?
Yeah, we've got it worked out. I told her to try to have the baby like on a Monday through a Wednesday.
There you go.
So she's kind of been focusing on that.
Did you put it in the calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that I've kind of planned that into the schedule this year. I am doing PBR teams, and so my plan has been to hitting the pro rodeos really hard right now, and goal is to be number one in the world after Calgary with a pretty good lead, and then when PBR teams kind of take off, I'm going to try to slow down on the pro rodeos a little bit and just be able to take care of my body a little more and be 100% committed at those teams events, and then that's going to kind of free me up on the Monday through the Thursdays and allow me to be home a lot more than I normally would be this time of year, and set me up so like I said, it's hopefully we don't go into labor on a Saturday, but they're a little bit out of control. But doing the team events, it's going to allow me to have some more time off, and it's pretty important for me to be there when she has the baby, and so that's
absolutely
planning it the best I can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, little brother had a little experience like that, didn't he?
Yeah.
So
he missed the rodeo and the birth.
So he was in between both. Poor
guy. Yeah, that's a bummer. But man, it's interesting to hear, like the views on the whole season. You've obviously had this game plan probably since you guys found out you were pregnant, and you probably already had the game plan of doing heavy PRCA and PBR teams, really committing to that. But to hear what you can do both and make the NFR and do the teams and still be fully committed to each thing. And I don't think a lot of guys have seen that or have been able to adopt that perspective just because it's so new, right? And just thinking about the volume going down towards the end of the season after you've been on a lot of bulls already this year, a ton of bulls, but you're still getting on when you are really, really high level bulls at those team deals. So your riding shape essentially is going to be prime still, but your body's going to be able to adapt, recover from this heavy amount of volume that's been going on in competition lately. And I think that just makes for awesome recipe showing up to the NFR to absolutely slay it like you normally do. But it's just it fires me up. That's like a businessman's game plan. I love it. That's rank. So
it is. I will say I've been sitting here looking at my schedule this morning, and they got all the rodeos out in August, and it's last year I did both, and you can dang sure do both, but I was going to PRCA rodeos Monday through Thursday and teams Friday through Sunday, and by the end of the season, I body dang sure was feeling it. I'd racked up a couple injuries, got knocked out a few more times than a guy likes to in a regular season, and so that was the goal this year. But them rodeos popped up, and I'm sitting here scratching my head thinking, man, maybe I can go to a few more. But I said I'm going to be pretty strict with what I said. I set the goal there in April, and we're going to have a strong July, and then be able to be set up to where I can. It's not how many you get on. It's about riding good when you show up, and there's dang sure a fine line there of if you increase your quantity too much, I feel like your quality can go down a little bit. It don't matter who you are. So,
well, speaking of riding good when you show up, that seems to be your soiree here, or like what you've been doing here lately.
Yeah.
Just winning everything you go to. It seems like. Was that I don't know, like how are you feeling right now? Like today's July 4th as we're recording this. You've been on a tear. Like what's your thoughts on where you're at right now?
Feeling great. Body's feeling really good, and I kind of had a couple injuries this winter. Was having some trouble with my back, and me and Doug really been working through that. And the way that had went, it allowed me to, even my April, May, and early June, I would say I got on less bulls than normal, but was able to spend a little more time at home, and feel like I really got my body dialed in and was in as good a shape as I've ever been rolling into Reno. And that's kind of allowed, feel like I just kind of built momentum. I mean, I didn't go to as many in May and June as normal, but the ones I went to, I seemed like I was top 3 money at almost all of them. And like I said, I kind of one of those ones. It's always nice when a plan comes together. That was the past couple of years. Sometimes I felt a little wore out when Reno started, because I've went pretty hard already before that. And so spent a little more time at the house getting on some practice bulls instead of entering, and made sure everything was dialed in. And then the draws started coming out, and it seemed like I drew the one to have everywhere I've been going. And it's been said, I think I won Pecos, Springdale, and Cody's Extreme right there back to back to back, and was third at Greeley's Extreme Bulls right before that. And it's been good, and I got a really good bull tonight in Cody, so I'm really excited about that too. So
Heck yeah, dude, that's so cool. We think I have everybody is messaging us lately about pulled muscles, injuries. It's just that time of year. Even if they're not at the elite level they're going to, even AMI rodeos, they're still going to more than they usually are, not taking care of their bodies. And it's showing up. You just talked about the injuries that you worked through this spring. And, I remember when we were chatting in the beginning, and there was a couple big rodeos you had to sit out. And I know that deep down it was eating you alive that you couldn't go and that you just wanted to be there. But it takes that adopting that mindset of growth rather than, this, I'm just going to go keep getting on bulls and it's going to work out. Because like you just said a little bit ago, it's not about how many you get on, it's how many you get rode. And if you're not at 100%, you're not going to be able to ride majority of these bulls. So taking that time off, and man, it's cool when we've been working together for years now. Like, you are recognizing things about your body that you can tell me in communication, right? That makes me be able to help you out more. In the beginning, like, it's hard because guys don't necessarily know how to relay that information. But, that whole process, those last few months leading up into this summer run, we were really dialed on our communication and talking about how we're feeling. And you were able to, tell me that, hey, when I'm doing this, I'm feeling weak in this specific area. And we're like, boom, okay, let's fix that. And it makes me so happy to hear how good you're feeling right now and going through this. And you've been on a ton of bulls this year already. And I have 2-part question. You've been drawing the nuts everywhere. Mentally, how do you keep it simple or not like manage expectations almost, if that makes sense, or prevent those expectations from getting way too far out there when you're like, putting the cart before the horse kind of deal?
The big part is just keeping it simple. I feel like it don't matter what event you're in. You have your basics that you have to do every time, and it gets easy to get caught up into the bigger picture. You stub your toe on one, and pretty quick you guys have all talked to bull riders. They're pretty quick. You need to change something, and it's like you don't need to change something. Most of the time, the reason you don't make the whistle is because you didn't do those basics that work every time, and that's something through my career I've gotten more mentally tough about. But it's a matter of taking it one bull at a time, and if you show up and you don't win or you get bucked off, most of the time it isn't because your basics suck. It's because you didn't do those basics. And kind of had a prime example here with this good run I've been having. One of the ones I was most excited about, I had Cool Whip drawn at Greeley, and I made a good ride at the Extreme Bulls the night before. It was like the third rodeo of the run, and I've been on him twice, almost rode him both times, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the guy that breaks his streak. I was so excited. And you want to talk about Cool Whip just rings me out. Second jump whips me down, horn in the chin, end up having to get a couple stitches.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, I drew good that whole week. I had Cool Whip, and the next day I got Bayou Bengal drawn, and that was one of them ones that, went back, looked at the ride, and was this close to doing what I needed to do to ride him. And I just, like I said, stayed on the outside a little longer than I needed to, and it didn't work. But I didn't leave there thinking, oh man, I just wasted Cool Whip, and just kept a really good attitude about it. And next day I had Bayou and showed up there, dialed in. These are the 3 things I need to do to ride this bull, and went and executed them and got him rode. And I've just kept it rolling since then. And
man, that is 2 really tough bulls to have back to back. Like, obviously you're in another league than most guys, but that's really cool to hear how you're able to shake that ride off on Cool Whip and just be like, you know what, like I did what I needed to do to a degree, or whatever your thought process was, and like I just need to keep it simple and keep going. And that ride on Bayou Bengal was freaking jam up, man.
And one like, go ahead, Doug.
Where was Bayou Bengal at? What rodeo?
Pecos.
That was Pecos.
What was in Cody?
Just a good bull. They called him Stranger Danger.
Holy smokes. That thing was wild, dude. That he pulled everything but a knife on you. It felt like it was crazy. Yeah. Super rank. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you guys there.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, it was like talking about the confidence thing. That was one that was funny because I was super confident about Cool Whip because I've been on both the bulls twice. I rode Cool Whip to 7 both times. The 2 times I've been on Bayou, I didn't make it past the end of the gate. Oh, wow. And so like rolling into it, I was like, oh yeah, I got Cool Whip for sure. Like Bayou's I'm gonna try really hard, but like I honestly, usually when I get on a bull, I can look at them and have a pretty good idea what they're gonna feel like and how to show up for the ride, dialed in to give myself the best chance to have success. And both times I've been on Bayou, like I've just been at a loss of words because I felt like I knew where I needed to be, showed up and felt good mentally. And then it's been like 1.8 seconds. And
yeah, what do you do with that?
Yeah,
it's hard to correct that.
He did feel like how I thought he was going to feel. Like just it's been funny. And then this time just had the opposite effect. I thought I had the trick for Cool Whip, and it was quick, and then roll in there to Bayou and went way better. But that's where the mental part comes in. Of if you've got to keep a good attitude, and if once you get a bad attitude, you've already lost.
Yeah, and that's the game. The mental game. And when guys start, this is how it worked for me at least, and this didn't even happen in rodeo. It was totally different setting than rodeo. I've talked about it on this show before, but I worked in a restaurant before, and like everything's contagious. How you think is contagious, right? If someone's super negative around you, you find yourself being negative more often than not. Your own self-thoughts are the same. If you allow yourself to get ahead of yourself, like, I'm walking out of Greeley, I'm already holding that 15 grand, like, hell yeah, baby. Sometimes we get too jumped. And you had a game plan prior to that on the Bayou. Sorry, I'm terrible with names, but the other bull. And for 2 times, and you got 1.8 seconds. This last time, I'm sure that you're like, I'm gonna do the fundamentals. I'm gonna do the basics perfect. And then all of a sudden you made it past that 1.8, and then we got 8 seconds under our belts, And it's just is so funny, even at this elite level that you're at, it's that simple still. Like, do the fundamentals perfectly and it's going to go well. That's the thing you have to do. So we hear it all the time, especially with young athletes. Oh, I need to change, like you were saying, change my rope, change my rigging, change my rowels. It's like, hold up, let's look back here. And there's probably one of 3 or 4 things that you were needed to do to make this go well, and you didn't do one or all of them. So
Yeah.
let's just look at, keeping it simple. And that's the hardest part is like, it is that easy. And the better you get, the more you're going to want to change and do and say like, oh, I've got to work on this more. And you might need to work on some things more, but the fundamentals never go anywhere. They are still the same no matter what.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout. Y'all, if you're having trouble sleeping or you've got really achy muscles, Power Pro CBD has teamed up with us to bring you their tinctures and their warming lotions. Guys, these have been a crucial part of my nightly routine. Y'all can check them out at PowerPro, PWRpro.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, to save you a good chunk of discount. What's next, Josh?
I got Cody, Wyoming tonight. They got a big red muley bull called Gladiator's Hammer. Rode him at the NFR a year or two ago. He's kind of one of the ones pretty famous bull in Frontier's Pen that everybody loves to get on, and so excited about that. And then we roll into West Jordan, Oakley, Utah, and got a day off, and then start in Calgary on Monday.
Heck yes. And are you staying up in Calgary the entire time, or will you be going back and forth?
I'm going to come back down. I made the NFR Open, and so
cool.
I ride Calgary 3 days, got a day off, and then ride in Springs Friday, Saturday, and then back to Calgary short round. So
awesome. Okay, busy. Obviously training is not looking like it was when we were at home, but competitions, again, volume has increased a lot, travel increased a lot. Everything is, outside stressors are through the roof just because we're not in our normal routine. What are you doing to manage the outside stressors?
Sleeping.
Dude. King.
Yeah. But really, that's, like I said, I feel like we did a better job this year I feel like the last couple of years, middle of May, we've moved to more mobility stuff. And this year with me being home a little more, I feel like we pushed hard in the gym all the way up till Reno. And that's, like I said, I've had about 10 days here where I've been hot and heavy, and said I've been trying to been doing some mobility stuff, but it seems like I've yet to. Last night was the first night I've got 8 hours, actually been able to lay in my bed for 8 hours. I had about 5 days in a row where I was 3 hours of sleep on an airplane, traveling in and out, and it's been cool to see how good the bodies felt, just because we were in top physical condition when we took off. And like I said, we got a pretty hard stretch here up till West Jordan, Oakley. My travel slows down a little bit, and we'll be back in the gym every day after that, and gonna, like I said, keep it going. But it's one of those ones, if you can't get the 8 hours of sleep, I feel like sometimes if you're getting in the gym and pushing yourself too hard, you just add on to the bumps and bruises.
Absolutely. Yes. Kind of walk us through some of the tactical stuff, because like a lot of guys don't understand the importance of sleep. And obviously you've been a client for a long time, so this is probably a few years in the making, but it sounds like this is like maybe the first year that like the execution is spot on. So like, who's in the rig with you guys? Like, how are you traveling? Are you flying most places? Are you driving? Are you staying in hotels? Like, what's the setup look like?
We've had a little bit of all of it. Said I'm going with Jake this year, my little brother, which he works with Paul, and he's been getting after it a lot, really good. And so he kind of similar deal. He'd been on the same schedule as me, and so he's been getting in the gym a bunch. And similar deal. He got on quite a few practice bulls in May and June when we weren't entering, and so we're in a truck and camper, and we've been, like I said, we've had a pretty crazy schedule. I kind of entered us. It always looks good on paper until you get into it and then realize you're not, don't get to sleep at all. But said that we bounced. I started out in Panoka, and then he picked me up in Greeley for the Extreme Bulls and the rodeo, and then we so had the truck and camper there, and then we caught a flight to Pecos, caught a flight to Springdale, landed in Denver at like 7 a.m. on the 30th, had a 7-hour drive to Cody's Extreme Bulls, and then we split ways after that. He caught a flight to Prescott. I drove up to Pinoka Short Round, and then once we were up at Pinoka Short Round, all the WestJet's workers were on strike. And so that was one of the nights I planned in, oh, this will be great. I'll get 8 hours of sleep here. And then ended up getting my flight canceled. So I had to drive 8 hours down to Great Falls to catch a flight to St. Paul. And it's been pretty crazy with all the travel. But having the truck and camper dang sure has made it nice this year, because we, when we are in the same place and don't have to catch a flight, it's been a little better getting that rest in. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And like I said, it's Jate's flying. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of Billings Airport right now. He was at Greeley Short Round last night, and so I'll pick him up here in about an hour, and then from there we don't have to worry about any he don't have to worry about any airplanes, and I'll fly up to Calgary Sunday evening, but it's a pretty easy trip for that.
Oh yeah, a super simple flight from there. Shit, you're only 6 hours from me. Ain't that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, not compared to what he's been putting on right
No way,
lately.
dude. No way. You guys have been doing it. And, to hear you guys prioritizing sleep, we literally just did an episode about this before this, the last one. And we were talking about supplementation, all these things that you can take that can help you. And it's like, but the number one thing that's going to help you the most and is free is sleep. If you can prioritize that, it's going to be huge. And hearing you just talk a little bit on, just the effects that you've seen. If you aren't sleeping enough and you're still going to try and push yourself in the gym and getting on that many bulls, you've noticed that like you get more beat up because you're not allowing your body to recover. So it's taken obviously years of learning this, but here we are at, this level. And I mean, it's obviously the game plan is working very well. So it's
I feel like it's the old, which you guys have talked about it a bunch, but the old school cowboy mentality is toughen up, go get on more. And, if it hurts, don't worry about it. Don't be a wimp, just ride. And I've seen that through my career of toughening up, and there's a fine line. Like, you've still got to be tough.
Yes.
But there comes a point when it's like, listen to your body a little bit and get some sleep, learning to prioritize the entering to where, there's going to be times where you do have to go on that grind and go from Pecos, Springdale to Cody's Extreme. But it's also one, don't plan your whole schedule like that. Really try to set it up. And if you have the chances to get the 8 hours in, or, sometimes you might be better to spend that extra $100 on an airplane flight that gets you another 5 hours of sleep than sitting in that vehicle and driving. You're going to feel better, and your season's going to be, you're going to have a full season. Your body's going to feel good, and you're going to win way more.
Yep.
So important. And those are all things that you don't learn unless you're doing them or traveling with someone that's doing them, or, investing yourself and going to places that give you the resources to do that, like an OPA or like your guys's remote bull riding school, which, man, how is that going?
It's been really good. Said it's been, I wouldn't say we'd advertised a lot the last month or so. Said I've been busy riding bulls. Joe's been pretty busy with his in-person schools, but it's the word's getting out there, and guys are getting it, and it's been cool to see the testimonials. I mean, we get the people that buy it and use it. There's, similar to your guys' OPA, like, we get a lot of, man, I got it. I've been doing the drills, and I just went and won this rodeo this weekend. I bucked off the last 15 bulls away from my hand, and I started working on this, and they go and freaking stick it on one. And so it's cool to see.
That's the best. That is literally the best thing about being a coach of any kind, is seeing people use what you're teaching and find success with it, and finding it like, there's nothing like this really out there that you can go and have access to. I think it's 98 videos or something like that you guys have.
Yep.
From never been on a bull to you are an NFR bull riding athlete. There are drills for everybody there and in between. So it's a no-brainer. And it's a one-time cost, correct? One-time charge for the access to it.
Yeah, one-time charge. Like I said, the idea behind it was it's expensive to come to an in-person school. You're a couple $100 in travel, $700 to enter. With this, it was $197. You sign up, you've got it for the rest of your life. It's also we're going to continue to update as we get more information or get better to teach teaching stuff, and there's no additional cost when we add more videos, and it's I think it's cool because it's literally the stuff I'm doing every day. When I talk about being home and getting ready for the summer run, like I'm out there doing the drills and riding my horse bareback, and it's the little, I get the messages all the time for, oh yeah, I ride my buck right for 5 hours a day. And it's like, you don't need to do it for 5 hours a day. It's a matter of getting out there and doing it right for, go ride your buck right for 10 minutes, do these drills, go go find a horse bareback and, 15, 20 minutes. And you do that every day with the proper technique and idea behind it to where it actually transitions to what it's going to feel like on the back of a bull. And it works. I'm a prime example this year. I said I fought some injuries this winter, wasn't riding as good, and I just kept coming home and I kept getting like, I need more practice bulls, and wasn't going good. And finally, after like 2 weeks of it, Joe goes, man, maybe instead of coming home and just getting on bulls, you should try doing some of these drills we've been telling all these kids that they should do.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, maybe you're right. So I took that, I think the month of April, didn't hardly get on any practice bulls, but every day I was home, I went and rode my buck right, rode the horse bareback, did my air bull stuff we talk about in the school. And holy cow, if you wouldn't believe it, I freaking won like 50,000. It was just like every time I ran my hand in the rope, I was like, man, this is actually easy. And now my body feels good because I'm not just getting on bulls because I think I need to. Like it's more of a practicing with a purpose than just practicing to say I did.
Yeah.
I will say for anybody listening, like just the little bitty, like the little things that you guys talk about in your videos, because I have this school and right now, even though I'm out injured, I'm finally cleared to be able to get on the barrel and start doing a lot of those drills. But some of the little techniques that you guys teach in there are such a game changer, especially that air bull. That is like shooting like at 45-degree angles and like where to drive your knee and things. If you don't have that and you don't learn that, that is something that's invaluable. It's so easy to do in your living room, whether you're hurt or not. Like it's been a game changer, man. I've really enjoyed being in there and watching those. I watch those videos every week. Like it's crazy.
Well, I love hearing that.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I don't think I've talked to a bull rider in the recent months, like where your online school hasn't come up in the conversation at some point. And one of the coolest things that I think is kind of happened is the guys that have been riding for a long time already, kind of like what you said. I mean, like you're almost your own perfect testimony for your own school. But like the guys that wouldn't, like Doug said earlier, it's like, you could get it if you've never been on a bull before, and it'll teach you everything you need to know. But even if you have been riding for a long time, those are the cool conversations that I've been having lately, is like guys that you wouldn't expect would need something like that, but they do, because they'll watch the videos and it's like almost either a reminder or there's just a little tweak or something that they'd overlooked for a long time. And, they have that light bulb moment and they're like, this is actually going to completely change the way I ride bulls. And I've been riding successfully already for a while, but like I'm going to be even better now because I have this resource. And it's something cool that I think guys can always go back to. And like we always say, like you can never not learn something new. Like you're always going to be learning. Like even guys that have been riding for 20 years can learn something new. So yeah, I think it's awesome, and the feedback I've been getting on it has just been incredible.
It is. And it's giving people a resource to get into the sport, man. You guys are great ambassadors for rodeo and bull riding, and putting this out there gives people the opportunity to learn about the sport without having to find somebody and go to a school where they don't know anything or don't know if it's to be trusted. Like it's awesome. And anyone listening, we'll have a link in our show notes for this. Wherever you're listening, you'll be able to click it and go check out their school, get access to the school if you want to purchase it. But if you're a bull rider and you don't have this, you are missing the boat. You need to get it, and it's a freaking write-off. It's an expense for your business. It's too easy not to do it.
And it's one like that. What for people that have rode bulls before, and I mean, you kind of hit on it, Doug. Like, obviously, if you're going to start, you should probably go to a bull riding school. Yeah. But I would say 90% of people that start riding bulls usually show up to a practice pen, borrow some equipment, and are just lucky that they don't die.
Yes.
And it's like, that's what I tell people. And they're like, oh, how do I get started? I'm like, well, for one, you need to go to a school. For two, find somewhere safe. But more often than not, they don't have access to that. And so at least with the online school, you have the ability, okay, for $200, I really want to be a bull rider. I can at least learn these basics. Maybe literally anybody can get a 50-gallon drum, like go and practice a little bit. Now when I show up to this practice pen and get at least now they have some basic, they have the basics to at least show up and think about, to where I feel like they're hopefully getting their foot in the door a little better than the way that's been done forever, where you should, they might have went to a practice pen for a year and never made the whistle, and their buddy that's made the whistle once is the person that's giving them advice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we see that everywhere. And again, it's just because of the lack of resources that are available. But what we're saying now is that's not an option, or like that's not an excuse, because there are resources available and there are places you can go learn correctly. If I could, like, perfect world, someone wanting to learn how to be a bull rider, bucking horse rider, whatever, they would go to get this school. If you're a bull rider, you would start learning the fundamentals. You would go and get the Champion Living Fitness app and start preparing your body physically, because not only do you have to know what to do technically in sport specifically to ride the bull, you have to be strong enough and athletic enough to do those things. And what we see a lot, and I'm sure you guys see this in the bull riding schools too, but with horse riders, is they get there, they have the heart, they have the desire, but damn, they're soft when it comes to their physical ability. They can't, when I'm like, lock your lat down, and it's like nothing happens. I'm like, do you know where your lat is? I have no clue. Okay. That's not, I get it. Now it makes sense why you can't do that, but you would get so much more out of these schools if you showed up physically prepared, because if you're weak, your confidence is going to be low, because especially after you get on your first animal, because you're going to feel the strength of that. And it's going to be not that.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's so important to gain confidence early in these events, because it's hard to get out of that hole when things just aren't going well. And in the beginning, it's not going to go well for anybody. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's and I couldn't imagine. I feel like the bareback riding is even more physical than the bull riding, but we see it all the time, and especially younger kids, like, and it goes, which we preach it all the time, the importance of playing other sports while you're, from 6 to 18, like football, basketball, wrestling, all those things teach you athletic ability. But there's a lot of kids now that aren't playing sports, and they just want to be a bull rider. And it's like, that's cool, but like, you've still got to be an athlete, and it's learning to control your body and move athletically is going to, it don't matter what event you're doing, the athletic people are the people that are winning. And if you're a young kid getting started, or if you have the ability to play high school sports,
yes,
you need to be, figure out a season that fits in well with your rodeo season if you're really dedicated to rodeo. But all that go in it, like, give your body some time off and do something different and go and learn how to be athletic, because we're getting kids that, they're 11 years old, and we try to get them drop them into the air bowl position, and they physically cannot hold an air squat for 10 seconds. It's like, how do you expect to be able to ride a bull when you can't do that?
Yep.
I showed up the other day at the house, and Joe had a kid there doing a private lesson, probably 13-year-old kid. And I came, he was laying out there. He was out there on his hands and knees throwing up. And I'm like, what is Joe doing to this poor kid? And I come in, and Joe goes, man, I put him in the air bowl position, and I told him to hold it as long as he could. And about 15 seconds in, he started shaking, tipped over, and threw up. It's like, well, I guess there was maximum effort, but it's like you said with the app, like it's your body is your most important to your body and your mind, but it all goes together. And that's something that's really easy to control, is taking care of your body and building some athletic ability and strength. And you're going to see huge improvements in the arena.
Yeah, dude. And talking about just that kid, for example, 13 years old. I don't know what his background is, but if you play sports and do other things besides rodeo, you're going to learn how to create tension in your body, but also breathe at the same time and not pass out and puke because you held your breath so long, right? There's so many things that are developed in the gym that apply to the arena they're really hard to learn just solely in the arena, because again, in the beginning, you're not usually not getting that far. You're not able to actually practice those things. So the gym for me, teaching your body how to brace and be tight and strong, but also breathe and be able to move from that position is everything, because when we open the gate, we're reacting. It's just body's reactions, right? Those things have to be trained through skill specific practice and through strength and conditioning. So if we're missing, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna and the way you guys do it when I talk about the athletic ability and learning to use your body, like I feel like all the workouts you have me do, like very rarely am I sitting there and only focusing on one muscle group specifically. Like if I'm doing curls, I'm in a tall kneeling position, or lunge ISO hold while doing curls, or like training that body to engage multiple to focus and use multiple muscles at the same time while being in control. And then you add a tempo in there to where now I'm 3 seconds up, 1 second down. Like it's building mental toughness and teaching extreme athletic ability to be able to use multiple muscles at the same time, because every event in rodeo, like there's never a point in time in the ride where I'm only using my left bicep. It's core, legs, hamstring, multiple muscle contractions at the same time.
And usually opposite muscle groups that in regular day life, you do not ever use them that way. Everything in rodeo, I feel like, is opposite. And so you have to train the muscles to work like that. And, you're talking about, I love that you talked about mental toughness right there with tempo. And tempo is where I figured out how to stay tight and breathe at the same time, because you will go purple and want to throw up really fast with tempo if you're not breathing. But it's hard to go that slow. It's difficult to focus on the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. You can just go down and up a lot easier, but you're developing that mental toughness of doing it correctly in the gym, which translates to your practice in the arena, which translates to the arena, like to the arena to the arena. It's
I mean, I think that's a good point too, because like that little tip does actually transfer over to your sport too, because it kind of teaches you to be patient. Like there's times where you can jump ahead of an animal and try to beat them and try to be faster than and you're moving in a speed that they're not. They might be going more. They're more up and down, and you're trying to move ahead of them or something. But being patient and then being able to react in the moment to the force that's being applied to you. So that's all invaluable stuff, and you can learn it all through our app, and then through Josh's school, and that would give you the biggest head start that anybody's ever had. There's no time in history than right now where somebody can give themselves a head start without ever going to a rodeo or a practice pen or a school or anything. They can do it right at their house, and they can have all the tools that they need to be prepared once they do show up to get on live animals.
Yeah. Boom. Josh, we're gonna keep it short today, buddy. I just wanted to catch up with you and wanted to see how the run's going and talk about the school a bit. You guys go tear them up over this rest of this Cowboy Christmas, and keep it simple, have fun. Holler if you guys need anything.
I will. Thanks for having me on. It was great talking to you guys.
Dude, thanks for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure. Until next time, y'all. We'll catch you later. Hui has the best gear because it's tough. It's durable. It withstands the test of what we put it through, and that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. Hey guys, we got some exciting news for you. If you're listening to this, we know that you're committed to upping your game in the arena. and we're teaming up with the Rodeo Now app to help you do just that. The Rodeo Now app allows you to record, upload, and catalog your rides and runs, review your performances in slow motion, and our favorite feature, if you're not familiar with your stock draw, you can search your animal by name to get all the intel you need to make your next ride a winning one. Join the rodeo revolution today and download the Rodeo Now app for free. It's available in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.